Hi everyone, I wanted to introduce myself and Together an Active Future TAF before we meet on Monday in TAF style, which is doing videos. Together an Active Future is a local delivery pilot, one of 12 or 13 if you count Sport England themselves, funded by Sport England over the last 4 years. I joined as we were moving from Pathfinder initial phase, which was lots of testing and learning, into Accelerator phase. TAF currently works or tries to work within 3 main pillars, which has evolved. Our ways of working have evolved through an exploratory methodology. So we have 3 main ways of working. Systems, so where systems and lives collide. An example of that might be having a baby, losing a job and so on. Places, so actual locations, and behaviours, changing the people to change the system. In TAF, Penn and Lancashire, we have a large area that we look after. We have 6 districts. So we have teams working in each of those districts and what we might call locality work, and we also have universal work. We work through approach-based, and one of the key approaches to TAF ways of working is what we call a secondment model. So most of our teams, maybe apart from me and one other, are seconded or part-time roles within another organisation and with Together an Active Future. This is proving impactful. We're finding in some of our data collection and questionnaires because as those who work with us are changing their ways of working and trying to do things differently, to quote Sport England, they are also then having a ripple effect on colleagues that they work with and the systems that they work within. In terms of evaluation, in the first phase, Pathfinder phase, TAF recruited through a more traditional approach, worked with the university to do a process evaluation. That was affected by COVID, but there was it yielded some useful learning in terms of how we built into this exploratory model that we now have our systems, behaviours and places. It fitted right into that. But as that transition changed from Pathfinder to Accelerator, I was introduced to the organisation with a bit of a task to do evaluation a bit differently also. So we've been looking at evaluation from all angles, from the ground up, so that our localities and our stakeholders working in communities can also be evaluating, sharing the learning, reporting the learning in different ways to different audiences, and starting to engage through our universal programmes with specific university partners or researchers, targeted pieces of research. And that full spectrum is not linear, but hopefully addressing each particular work stream or individual where they are at. In terms of where I fit in, maybe my approach is to doing evaluation differently, and evaluation for learning. It comes from my background in education, both through schooling, teaching as a phys ed teacher to start with, working in international development in a research role, and my background in psychology and social psychology, and that sort of coaching and development skill set that I naturally fall into. One of my objectives of this PhD is to be able to learn and share my learning of what it is to be me in this role and how that might help others to really learn from what works and what doesn't work in place-based approaches to behaviour change. I really look forward to working with you and to springing lots of questions upon you. Thanks again for your time and have a lovely weekend.